It was developed in 1940s as an alternative to psychoanalysis by Carl Roger. It's not Charles Roger, it's Carl Roger. Okay. And antedated during the strong movement towards behavior therapy has took place in the 50s and humanistic revolution of 60s. Okay. Rogers challenged the belief that clients cannot understand and resolve their own problems with direct help from experts. He questioned focus on problems rather than on people in the therapy. So, whenever this word called client centered therapy is coming or flashing in front of you, so the one thing you need to understand that it is non-directive approach. It was started by Carl Roger in 1940s and it took back in 1960s. There was a humanistic revolution, and from then and there only it took the hype. Rogers challenged that the humans are having the capability of self-healing. He forced on that capacity or the capability of the particular person dealing any kind of situation. He also he questioned that why do we always just putting for our focus on the problems? Why are not we just focusing on the person right now who is sitting in front of us? Because most of the time the people in the present era specifically, people are having issues related to their present situation. Most of the people, when it comes to like when you guys will be starting working as a counselor or a psychotherapist, as Miss Sindhu said, that she said it correctly, that yes, the first approach is humanistic. We cannot directly apply the CBT or anything. Yes, we can do, but after just understanding the whole thing about that particular client, by taking the case history, by doing the MSc and the further as per the diagnosis, we are just mentioning the type of therapy and all that stuff. But humanistic approach is something it can be applied on the very first meeting, which we have discussed recently. So according to Rogers, self is an outgrowth of what a person experiences, and awareness of self helps a person differentiate him or her from others. That's what I told you right now. That self is an outgrowth of what a person experiences, and awareness of self, that what I want. When the person is aware of himself or herself, then he or she can differentiate himself or herself from the others and also set some healthy boundaries. Most of the times, the conflict in the relationships are because the person is not aware of the concept of self. We are giving into the relation. We are giving, or we are at the giving part. We are not accepting the thing that, okay, fine, the other person also has to do something. Everything is a two-way process, including love. It is also love as per who was that? Yes, John Green said that pain, that's the thing about pain. It demands to be felt. I further added to it, yes, that's the thing about love. It demands to be given as well, not only taken. So there are two types of selves, that is the real and the ideal self. So guys, real self is something what we are right now. And the ideal self is what we actually want to be. Okay? Now, the more is the gap between the real and the ideal self, the more will be the adjustment. The more is the gap between your real and the ideal self. What you want, you are hiding. For example, most of the times parents are doing just after the 12th that the child didn't want to go into this medical field. But it was the dream of the father that my child should be a doctor. Okay, now what is this? The child doesn't want to go to that particular field. But somehow that, okay, fine, out of the respect, out of some love or anything, that child is like, okay, Papa, it's your wish, so I'll just take this medical field. But what will be the consequence then? Guys, what will be the consequence if that person is not willing to take that particular field, but has taken that field just to please his or her father? What would be the consequences?
The child won't be able to do well in his studies because that was not his or her first choice.
Yes,
and again, like so many of the engineers like which we can see right now, like I come across like 90% of the juniors aren't interested only like in their field. Yeah, again it so happens that this is very serious and intense. I know, like I mean, they end up with suicide.
Yes,
Oh
that's
my
what I was
God.
missing. Yes,
Yeah,
not only into the academic level, on the academic level, but also at the emotional level, the child starts deteriorating because he has compromised. Use the congruence. Congruence refers to the therapist openness and genuineness, the willingness to relate to client without hiding behind a professional facade. Second thing is unconditional positive regard. Means that the therapist accepts the client totally for who he or she is without disapproving or censoring or without disapproving of particular feelings, actions, or characteristics. Third one is empathy, showing an emotional understanding of and sensitivity towards the client's feeling throughout the therapy session. So when we are providing a client-centered therapy to our client, these 3 points are constant throughout the therapy sessions. Like these 3 points, how they are remaining constant? We are into the non-directive role. We are not giving the directions. We are most of the time active listening skills are there. But in order to make that conversation going, these qualities should have, a counselor should have. Like the therapist should be open and genuine, who can relate or willing to open or to relate to the clients. And the therapist should have the unconditional positive regard, means the therapist accept the client totally, being non-judgmental, accepting, okay, being opinionated is a different thing and being judgmental is a different thing. But being judgmental and being opinionated, both the terms are not allowed in this client-centered